Alright, what's up, guys, man? It's Jace here, and we're just going to do a quick video basically talking about a post that I saw on Twitter by Matt B. And it was basically in regards to power scaling Yonko versus Admirals. And basically, in just the post said, we will never see an Admiral one shot Luffy. Laugh out loud. We've seen a Yonko do such a thing. There you go. There's your answer. And what Matt B was talking about, to give him credit, he was talking about literally power scaling Admirals versus Yonko. In the Wano, if you read the comic, and I think it should be coming up pretty much this weekend, depending on how the anime goes. Kaido one shot at Luffy, pretty much. Spoiler alert for those who don't read the anime and you just watch what comes on. Uh, Luffy got one shotted by Kaido. It was pretty devastating. In the words of King of Lightning, it was a baby shake. That's what happened. Luffy gave Kaido all he could, Gear 4th Luffy, and even with some of the techniques that he was taught by Katakuri, all of that went out of the window. He wasn't focused. He just went into enraged Gear 4 Luffy mode, and basically Kaido in his hybrid form took all that he could from Luffy and basically looked like it was just a scratch. Like basically Luffy was giving him a deep tissue massage. He got up, shook his head in disappointment, hit Luffy with his club. I think it was called the Thunderclap was the move that he used, and Luffy was down for the count. He was pretty much knocked unconscious and was arrested and basically put in confinement to work for Kaido as a slave. So, I mean, let's just call it what it is. Yes, Kaido one shot at Luffy. Post time skip. Big Mom, since we're learning about the different stages of haki now, Big Mom, in a way, one shot at Luffy. Post time skip. When Big Mom was fighting Luffy, and Luffy, this was after his Katakuri fight, he basically took offense to something she said when she brought back up his challenge to her when he was in, I think he was in the Ryukyu Kingdom. And this was, over Big Mom's sweets. So this was when he ate her sweets. And she was pretty much mad about it. And he basically told her that he was going to kick her ass all over the New World. Well, his words, she basically called him back out for that. And he felt some type of way, turned around, and went into Gear 4th and proceeded to attack. And all he got was Big Mom's forearm blocking his attack. Now, you could base that on the fact that, hey, Luffy had just finished fighting Katakuri and he hadn't fully recovered his stamina yet. Okay, that's fair. You can also base that off the fact that Big Mom uses easily, without us fully knowing the level of her mastery of it yet, which I would just go out on a limb and say it is extreme. She basically blocked this man's attack. And in the same gist of her blocking his attack, she also used the offensive capability to knock him out of Gear 4 and knock his haki away as if it was nothing. So you can, I would just say right now, she was using an advanced form of armament haki. Because no, Oda didn't show us the extra haki that was built up around her forearm that we couldn't see, that invisible aura that was around her forearm. What we could see was that her forearm was hockeyed up. She blocked his attack. He hit. And I'm willing to guess and bet that further on in the Wano arc, we're going to see that. But anyway, let's jump into this topic. I think it's a waste of time to try to talk about the Yonko because we haven't fully seen all of their attacks. We haven't fully seen them fight, but we have seen them literally just take a hit or two from Luffy and he's down. He's down, not them. But when it comes to the Admirals, this one is kind of fishy. Pre-time skip, yes. All admirals could one shot Luffy, no contest. The issue is, did they have the capability at the time? Like, was it super convenient for them? Like, when Luffy was there on the ground unconscious after Ace had just died. That was super convenient for Akainu to just end it right there. And then did they have the intent? And to me, that's the one that's the most important. Because in One Piece, even in this Wano arc, I think it's the most recent portrayal of it. You hear certain characters talk about a killer's intent or a killer will. Basically, they can smell the deadly intent off of you. Zoro talks about it a lot in this arc when he's basically just smells the blood on the guy, and basically like he could tell what the guy was up to. Or even when I think in the anime where they added some random tiger that was chasing Luffy and Zoro back to the palace, and Zoro basically picked up on it, saying he had a killer intent. Did either one of these admirals, pre time skip or post time skip, have the intent to kill Luffy? And pre time skip, the only one that I think, and keep in mind I should have said this earlier, we're only talking about Akainu, Aokichi, and Kizaru. Those are the only three we're talking about. We're not talking about the new two admirals because to me it's kind of pointless. They haven't been fleshed out enough. I mean, we can talk about one of them, but him and Luffy fought. That speaks for itself. He was basically only fighting off of the fact that his title was an admiral. He had no intent of killing Luffy. He had no intent of harming the Straw Hats. He made his intentions and everything he did known. So we'll just leave Fujitora alone completely. And the other admiral, we don't even know what he looks like. But just speaking off of Kainu, post time skip, we have to understand Akainu's devil fruit and what it would do to rubber. And then we have to talk about how would Akainu be put into a situation to where he has the capability to take out Luffy. Akainu's not coming to Wano. And every place that Luffy goes from here on out, to me, will be far and beyond away from the new headquarters building and Mary Jiao. Luffy technically has no reason to go near Akainu. And Akainu has no real reason to leave Mary Jiao. For what? Like, he's there as a stand-in guy for the world government. He's just a symbol of their power. He is the boss, at least as far as the Marines are concerned. It's not like you just saw Sengoku every chance he got just out in the field like that. That's not his job. That's not your commanding officer's job. Their job is to manage. His job is to manage his forces, not be out in the field. And I honestly don't think it's nothing currently that Luffy could do that would be so dire that the head commanding officer wouldn't be able to trust those forces under him, and he would have to basically just override all of them and take it upon himself to go and hunt Luffy. I just don't see it. Not even if Luffy and his forces went at a one of the gods, one of the royal family members. I don't even see that. I really don't. Simply because that's what you have the underling admirals for. And to be fair, Oda hasn't fleshed them out. We don't know anything about the new guy, and we know very little about Fujitora. So just off of that rip, I don't see Akainu one-shotting Luffy because he would never be in a situation to have the capability to do it. And then two, yes, does he have the intent? Yes, Akainu has the intent to do it. Akainu had the intent pre-time skip once he found out that Luffy's father was Dragon. And that's another thing. Oda still has to flesh out that of why people are so fearful of Dragon and why Dragon just strikes fear just by his namesake when it comes to the Marines and Akainu. Because he made it terribly known that if they let Luffy live past that day, it would be dire consequences for the world government and the Marines. Oda has to tell us why. Next we can move to Aokiji. Pre-time skip, Aokiji technically did one-shot Luffy. But his intent was never to kill Luffy. His intent was never to truly kill Robin. Like, I honestly think when Luffy and his crew first met Aokiji and he was basically, I think he froze Robin and technically did the exact same thing to Luffy, but Luffy got out of it because of his devil fruit. He gave them space. He gave them distance. He could have easily killed the entire Straw Hat crew right then and there. Wrap up the story. We're done. No more One Piece, guys. He did not. He didn't have the intent. Post time skip, Oda hasn't fleshed that out. It's a mystery of what Aokiji is even doing. You have people thinking that he's a part of Sword now. You have people thinking that he's a sleeper agent working for Blackbeard. Like, we don't know what Kizaru's doing. The last thing we saw Kizaru doing canon-wise was when he went to save his friend Smoker from being killed in front of his crew by Don Flamingo. Other than that, Aokiji is out in the wind, just doing whatever. I honestly think he's just getting intel, and he's one of the few that I could see still being able to one-shot Luffy. I disagree with Matt B on that. I do think Aokiji has the ability to one-shot Luffy because you got to think about what does cold do to rubber. Cold makes rubber expand. Heat makes rubber shrink. Luffy's starting to learn different degrees of hockey. Me personally, I believe the more he can compound his rubber and I say shrink it and make it harder, kind of like Katakuri's block Moji, that will up his armor hockey and make him stronger. I think if you're expanding him, if you keep expanding and expanding and expanding something, it's easier to cut, it's easier to break, it's easier to destroy. We haven't seen Aokiji, to me, go all out in a fight. Ever. We've seen little snippets in The War of the Best. Oda decided to off-screen the fight between him and Akainu, but Akainu had a messed up face and he lost a leg. We have never seen Aokiji fully go out and use all of his abilities. Like, for all we know, this man might have an awakening. We don't even know what it is. It can be something insane. I believe if Aokiji had the intent, the killer's intent, yes, he could one-shot Luffy. Even in Gear 4. Because of what, to me, what cold, which is his thing is ice, can do to rubber. On the opposite side of that, I feel even with the intent, even if he did have the capability and they were in the same vicinity of each other, heat makes rubber shrink. It wouldn't be the same fight like him and Ace. It wouldn't end so quickly. And we can just go ahead and chop it up now. Luffy is far above and beyond what Ace was in the War of the Best as far as strength. I think Luffy would beat the brakes off of Ace. Now, I would still say it would be a mid-diff fight simply because Ace had experience to his side. He had years of experience, years of knowledge, and different techniques and different strategies to pull that he could use on the stronger fighter, which would be Luffy. Once Luffy's one of those that learns as he goes. Once Luffy figured that out, I do believe Luffy could. All right, cool. It's time to go get forth. Let's end this and dust off Ace pretty quickly. Um, the last one is Kizaru. To me, Kizaru's a wild card because just like the other guys, we've seen Kizaru play around. And to me, every time Kizaru fights, he's playing around. Like I don't see a such thing as a serious Kizaru. Even when he attacked the Straw Hats on Sabado Archipelago, like for one, my man was late. Two, my man came in riding his way in too short on a cannonball. He played around with some of the worst generation. Played around with him, took him for a joke, and then he made his way. Once he finally got his Den Mushi working, he made his way to the Straw Hats. And if Rayleigh hadn't showed up, yes, Kizaru would have ended the entire Straw Hat crew easily. Post time skip, let's give it to Luffy. Luffy has a speed boost that's insane. He's not only do I think he's keeping up with Kizaru, I think he's speed blitzing Kizaru. I think Luffy, current Luffy, post time skip Luffy, is faster than Kizaru. Easily, not a question. I also think Kizaru is one of those fighters because of how he fights, which it seems is he's more of a distance fighter. Luffy could actually focus and use his little mind thing to where he can see a couple seconds into the future and predict attacks to his advantage. Kizaru's not a brawler. Kizaru's more of a technical fighter. And I think a matchup between Kizaru and Luffy post time skip would be to Luffy's benefit. Because the biggest thing that Kizaru has on people is speed. And it's already been stated that Kizaru predominantly uses his devil fruit. Like, I don't really think he has a mastery of the different and stronger forms of hockey. And we've seen Kizaru use a little sword play. So, of course, his weapon of choice is his kicks, but he can use some swords play. We saw that in his small fight against Rayleigh. So he has that ability, but Kizaru's stuff is more with speed, and because speed kills and speed has all that weight behind it, that's what makes it so destructive. Luffy could avoid those hits easily. Therefore, I don't see Luffy taking damage. And the only way Kizaru is going to be able to damage Luffy, he's going to have to make it a close-hand fight. He's not going to be able to pick him off from a distance. And I think with that and with Luffy being able to use the armament hockey, Kizaru's going to have a hard day one-shot Luffy. Like, I honestly think that's a hard diff fight for both of them. So, let's just call it like it is, guys. Can an Admiral one-shot Luffy? Yes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. The one that I say can do it is Aokiji. Is Aokiji going to do that? No. From here to the end of One Piece, there's no way that I see Aokiji and Luffy having a fight. Aokiji doesn't have the intent. He seems too laid back. He seems like he got better things to do. And yeah, I see those crews, Blackbeard's crew and Luffy crew, meeting eventually. But knowing Oda, the elephant in the room, aka Aokiji, won't even be there. Because that would make an awkward conversation for if the Straw Hats to roll up on the Blackbeard Pirates and you see Blackbeard's entire crew and then there's Aokiji off in the corner. Aokiji, what are you doing here? Why are you over here? Like, and you know Luffy's the first person to call it out. No different than when he called out Caesar. So it depends on how Oda want to roll with that. I don't see Oda putting Aokiji in that position because I think he has other plans for Aokiji that are world building, and we just haven't got there yet. So that's it, guys. Man, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm even mad I went this long on this topic, but in my estimation, I'm gonna have to disagree with Matt B's assessment. Fully respected though, but I do think out of all the admirals, there is one that could do it, and that's Aokiji. So, again, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for your time. Please subscribe. Jace out.